I'll take questions. First of all, as you'll notice, it's a lot of comparing and contrasting, so I know that's going to be difficult, but if you know the topics, it should be okay. You just got to use your brain cells there to compare and contrasting. So I did lay everything out for you. Groundhog Day again, I'm not going to talk about because we'll talk about it in class, the last day of class. So for my WNA, that'll be tomorrow. For our day, that'll be Monday. No questions about anything else other than Groundhog Day?
Can you tell us how many questions of each are on here, or like which sections?
I really can't, sorry. I mean, I gave you all the questions.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How would Hindus worship their gods different, like saints?
How is it different or similar? That's a good question for both classes. So it's all in the notes.
Or just how it's different.
Okay, so that's a similarity?
Yeah.
Anyone?
How would you know?
Hindu gods are like saints, but they're also different than the saints. So the analogy works to a degree. Yeah, Mark?
Do you want how they're like or how they're different?
Let's do both.
Well, how they're different is that the Hindu goddesses or gods weren't actual people as the saints are. And
They were not historical figures. They didn't actually live. Good.
There is no council or whatever to say that they are legitimate or not.
Excellent. So if somebody wants to create a god or goddess, they just do. There's no authority like Vatican would approve states. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Which goes back to how Hinduism is unique. There's no central founder, no authority or organization. How are they similar?
Feast days.
They all have feast days, and they are aspects of the one God. They kind of represent, if you will, different aspects of the God. That's a great question for both sides. So good job. Yes?
What does Judaism and Islam have in common? I think that they're both monotheistic.
And somebody, obviously, yeah, good. That was a repeat question, by the way. I do repeat some questions, but not many. Somebody else? Other ways that are similar. You only have one test, so hopefully you kept it. Yeah, Mama?
What's in Jesus?
How?
As a prophet.
What do you really?
As a prophet. Careful there, yeah. Anyone else? How are they similar?
Don't they both pray multiple times a day?
Excellent. Jews 3 times and Muslims 5. They also, if you remember, believe that man is free to make choices, right? We have free will, but God is all-powerful. So it's up to us to respond to God or not.
Yep.
Do Jews and Muslims believe that humans stepped up to the responsibility of taking care of Earth, and that it's because the angels behind it? True or false?
True.
False. That is only Muslims. They were that very different. The Quran states that humans stepped up to take care of the Earth and the animals, but in Genesis, it's just given to them. There's no choice. So that's the key one. Other questions? Things you can't find, Mama?
How does the Quran portray Jesus?
That's a repeat question. So instead of your own exam in there, it's word for word exact. So, yeah, Mark.
It says where does the caste system generate and why? Do you have to know exactly where, like a physical place?
No, not where physically.
Who
created the caste system? Anyone? Who, like in general, who created the caste system? Where did it come from? James?
Didn't it come from like the workers?
Who?
Like the garbage people.
During the colonization, wasn't it? It was the people in power at the time created it so that they could separate things for better protection. Like the British.
No, Indians created this. Hindus created it. So you guys are kind of right as long as you specify that it was not the Brits actually that did that. It was the Hindus that did it to themselves. And they did it, as you guys mentioned, to create a division of labor. But the problem with caste system?
Corruption.
True.
There's tension, obviously, that people couldn't move.
It became hereditary. What you were born into, you were stuck with. So very good. And then it became unfair. So you just need to know that. That's what I
Can you move if you were a woman though, when you were married?
True. But overall.
Did people not want to marry down though? Is that just what made them like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that stuff. Yeah, just.
Wasn't it also a problem because Hindus were oppressing Hindus when they were trying to fight the British power?
Now you pointed out the hypocrisy here. Exactly. Yeah. You want to be equal, but then you don't even treat your own people equal. Yeah, Mark?
For the stuff about Buddha, what basics do you want us to know?
You know, just things that we talked about in class. You know, did he ever meet a Jew? Did he know monotheism? Did he know Jesus? That kind of stuff. How did you live? How did you start out? He started out as a Hindu. That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, how are Christianity and Buddhism similar?
See, that's the stuff that's hard, right, to study for, because it's like, well, you just kind of have to think about it and look through your notes. Or just think, honestly. Some of it's thinking and going through this choices. All right. Bodhisattvas or figures help others become enlightened through compassion or wisdom. Would you say that's a similarity or a difference? Anyone, similarity or difference? Bodhisattvas or figures help others become enlightened through compassion or teaching. That's a similarity. Yeah, they both believe in people leading the way and teaching. Selflessness, especially in our actions towards others. We both preach that. Yes, of course, good. Treating all life with great respect. The two are against abortion and capital punishment, since all life is sacred. Yes, all there is life is sacred, and bugs and so forth. When we sin or go back to our ego and paths of ignorance, God or Buddha come in to save us with their grace. True? That's false. Buddhism is not. Remember the prime teaching of Buddha would say that no one can save you but yourself. Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. So that's false. So I hope that helps, Jake. That's exactly the question.
All right, thank you very much.
And there's other ones like that, again, with Hinduism and Christianity and stuff. We just have to find the one that's blatantly not Christianity. Because it'll have that here. Other questions? Other study guides that you can't find or you're worried about?
How are Buddha and Plato similar?
Buddha and Plato, that's one we answered in notes. Remember that? Towards the end of Buddhism notes, we talked about life's impermanence, right? Illusion, attachment, things like that. It's in the one about karma, so you can see that. It just has some small points to it. Yes?
The one for under Taoism where it talks about what to do for Muhammad and allowed to do all in common. What is like the main points that you want us to know?
What would you say off the top of your head?
That they all are trying to better humanity, and they never said believe what I do, but
True. I'll give you some options. See what you think. Do they all teach asceticism, that is physically and spiritually disciplining yourselves in order to reach peace? No. Asceticism is living, again, very simple. They were all murdered for their beliefs.
No.
Muhammad was not murdered. Muhammad was not murdered. To treat others with respect and move beyond our selfishness and attachment, that's the kind of where you were leading. Or no one has the right to judge anyone else. That is only the job for the divine. And the divine is the key, because a lot of you didn't really talk about that.
So,
Treat others with respect. I wouldn't necessarily write down the options when I answer like C or B, because it may not be in that order. Other questions? What would you say is a big, huge difference between Buddhism and Hinduism? They have many similarities, but big difference.
Buddhism is God.
True. God is not prevalent. That's another one. Afterlife. Big difference.
Well, what believes in reincarnation now, doesn't it?
No, they both believe in reincarnation, but you're in the right area. Okay. Specifically what, son?
The caste system,
They both, no, because the Hinduism did reject it eventually. Yeah. What about soul? Come on, guys, you know it, that's a big thing.
Buddha said we don't have soul.
There we go. Look for that in the multiple choice. When it says anything about our soul, Buddha didn't believe we have a soul, right? Why? That implies permanence. That's your key there. You also need to know, I think I told you, when we talked about 6 problems that Buddha had with Hinduism, write those in your cheat sheet. he had 6 main areas, right, of problems. He talked about the corruption of the Brahmins. He talked about how the rituals were becoming superstitious, right? That rang a bell. So you just have to know, I think it's at 4. Yes.
What teachings were parallel between Buddhism and Taoism?
Hinduism and Taoism?
Buddhism, sorry.
Buddhism and Taoism.
Yeah.
Anyone? Off the top of your head?
What is the question?
Maybe.
What teachings are parallel between Buddhism and Taoism?
What would you guess? Yeah.
That it comes from the same answer.
Yeah, that could work with that. What else? Taoism was a big teaching, yin and yang, big teaching. Moderation. They both believe in moderation or the middle way. So does Confucius, by the way. They all believe in the middle way and moderation. What was the big teaching that Buddha taught that also Plato picked up? And you could say Taoism believes too? Impermanent. Life is impermanent. Hence yin and yang. You get it now. Everything changes. Another one you could say is it's about our perspective. Also about yin and yang. So when you have emotions, right, you can't call them bad or good because it's just going to change again. That's another one. What did Buddha believe and preach about the existence of a God or gods? The point I think you would look for in this multiple choice is that he never really denies, right? It's just not his focus. What's his focus? Time and suffering. So by saying he was atheist, denying God's existence, that's false, right? That wasn't his concern. Other questions right now? Yes.
So Buddha for like the afterlife, he taught that like after this world we're done, I guess.
We're reincarnated.
Are we reincarnated?
But remember what's reincarnated. That's what makes him different.
What was that again?
It's like a person, not just who we were, like our emotions, feelings, what we did in life.
Energy or ideas, things of consciousness, but it's not soul.
So one believes in soul, the other one believes in energy.
Here's one. What do you think about this? True or false? What unites all Hindus everywhere is that they believe that rituals and the 4 yogas will bring them closer to God.
Sure.
False. That is absolutely false. You do not have to follow rituals. You do not have to do all the 4 yogas to get closer to God. Watch out for that.
But
what unites them is they want to get close to
Yeah.
God, but you can do it however you want. You
Yeah.
don't have to do it through rituals or one way. Yeah.
You know what between?
I said true and false. Like, what do you think? Because that was a little tougher. Again, the Judaism and Islam, as you guys saw in your study, there's not much. All I would do there is review your old test and be ready for some multiple choice and true false. There is nothing in short answer and essay about Judaism or Islam in a way. We already have a test on that. This is more heavily on connections and Eastern religions. Let's talk about the essay, so we get there in the short answer, and then we can come back to the other ones too. Not the Groundhog Day one. Your second one, I think I told you, right, is going to get Hinduism. So you're going to get some mix of questions. You all are definitely going to get, what is the Hinduism concept of God? What is monism? What is Atma Brahma? And you have to use a concrete example. The example we're talking about, the best one that works, is the Ben Franklin statue. Remember? So you can use that as the best example to explain, like taking off the layers of paint because they believe that we are God.
Where is this under you?
It's essay. I don't know if it's under Hinduism. So what is the concept of God? You would say that they are monistic and you have to explain what that means, right? One supreme reality. We are all God. Everything is God. You would also have to obviously explain why do they believe in 330 million gods and goddesses? What's up with that?
Everything.
God is everything. It's just aspects of the one God. So if you could explain that, that's helpful. Atma Brahma, you're obviously explaining that our soul is united with God. We just don't know it. We are divine. So their goal is to strip down and get to that. And then, you may have to talk about this yoga. Don't spend too much time on that. Just know the four basic paths, dhyana, karma, etc. And then what are they going to say about them all? Try them all, right? Use whatever you want. So that's all you need to know there. Questions about the Hinduism essay?
You think he's the Benjamin Franklin one. Could we just kind of follow him too?
Yeah, I think the Franklin one's better, but you can use that too. You just really want to go into depth on the layers and what's building the layers. our ego, our selfishness, our vanity, all those things get in the way, and then we can't see who we really are anymore. Yes?
When it says, how are Hindus not worshiping the idols, is that just because all of the gods make one? They're just using them as a passive way?
Very good. You can also note that they throw them away, honestly, sometimes after festivals. So you're exactly right. It's a representation. It's made to help them focus, but they don't actually worship that, what Hot Coffee is Ganesha. They're not worshiping that. It's the idea and the aspect of God. And so, again, just note that they often throw those things away. If they have a big festival, you know, and they make a big paper-mache thing, they'll just throw it away. They don't believe that's the God. Yeah. So that's all you need to know there, that they're not worshiping in idolatry. Just a representation. They're very visual. Question on the Hindu essay?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the constant God, you just need to know that there's monism.
And what monism is. And Amma Brahma and all those things. You got to really expand on that.
And how are they different from Hinduism?
Because of the monism aspect. And because they're so tolerant, because they're plural.
Sometimes because they don't have any like centralized form.
That's what makes them unique if you want to go into, because there's many, if you go into those details. No single founder, no central administration, et cetera. And you don't see too many religions that are monistic, other than really thousands. Here's a real hint. Remember the Trinity, the day I talked to you about the story? If you remember Shiva as the destroyer, a few things about him that'll help you link me, or actually this point. Let's go to some short answers. You're all going to get Taoism and Buddhism and so forth in the short answer, but it depends on what you get. You may get, how do yin and yang work? You don't have to tell me what yin and yang are, you just have to tell me how they work, right? So what I would want you to see, and look, I even give you this, so to remind you hopefully, this little logo. So I would want to hear about how at the high point of one, the extreme of one, the seed of the other is sown. I don't need to hear details about yin equals this and yang equals the dark, and I don't care about that, right? We just want to hear about the extremes and how they work. And then what's the goal? Moderation, obviously. Wu Wei, if you don't get that question, you would get the Wu Wei. You'd have to tell me what it means and how we should use it in our lives. So Wu Wei, if you remember, is the water. Work with that, right? Working and yielding with your circumstances, not fighting, not running away. We need a few more, then I'll get questions if you guys don't mind waiting here. Everyone's going to have to talk about the Four Noble Truths, but here's the key. Don't write your Four Noble Truths on your sheet. You don't need to know that. Here's all you need to know. How does he define suffering, and how does he define desire, and how are the two connected? Does that make sense? So how does he define suffering? We decided 3 to 4 times in class. Suffering.
When you want.
How does he define suffering? What does that mean?
Is that like attachment?
No.
What's that?
Everyone gets it wrong. How does he says, number 1, personal truth, life involves suffering. What does that mean?
Like bored.
Very good. Boredom. What else? Yeah?
Attachment?
No. That's what he said.
Selfishness.
No. No.
Unfulfillment.
Dissatisfied, very good. Frustrated, bored, etc. That's suffering. You guys are mixing in desire too soon. The suffering involves, what it means is to be frustrated, to not get what you want, to be disappointed or dissatisfied, to be bored. You don't like feeling that way. That's suffering. Now what's desire? Attachment, expectations. Now you get it? And how do the two relate?
One creates the other.
One creates the other. Desire creates suffering. Our attachments, our ideas, our expectations create suffering. Does that make sense? You really get to know. You can hear it several times. Here's a good one that I talked about. This is a big 5-pointer. It's your biggest short answer. What is the definition of Islam's greater jihad, and how do Hinduism, Buddhism, and Christianity share in that? What's greater jihad? And their struggle between right and wrong. What else? Be a good example. That's how they believe you should convert or get converts, is to be a good example. So now do you think you can answer the others? Hinduism, Buddhism, and Christianity, talking about that inner struggle between right and wrong?
Inner struggle for Buddhism. Do you want us to go through it?
Exactly, talking about the desire and suffering. Hinduism, you could say it's about all that layers that you put on yourself, right? Christianity, you could talk about being a good example, right? Living out your faith, not being a hypocrite, and relating, if you want to relate neatly, whatever.
Talk about not sinning.
Yeah, trying to do right, and then you probably want to pull an example too, which is what I do, to be be a good example of how they're create jihad.
So you don't they go into like what everyone would like should be like talk about like having competitions with them and like good angel, bad angel.
That's the judgment one. So if you don't get greater jihad, you will get how does Islam say will be judged? There you go, by our deeds, and you can talk about the angels. Then can you go into Hinduism, Buddhism, and Christianity? Well, Hinduism and Buddhism are easy, right? Karma.
And then Christianity is just
You could say, you bring up that we are supposed to be judged not only on our intentions, but yeah, how we live and how we treat the poor and so on.
alright.
You'll have some freedom. If you answer it decently, you get the credit there. I think I told you about the parables. You're either going to get the child who fell in a well, and have to know what's going on there, who said it. Right? Parable of the child falling into a well. That is Mencius. Mencius thought that human nature was good. We have to explain that. The other parable you may get is the farmer whose horse ran away, 4:30 in the morning. And you just have to know what's the point of mortalism.
So we don't have to know who wrote those?
No, because you don't know who wrote it. I mean, people credit it so loudly, you really don't know. So you just have to know the point of the meaning. That's the short answers for everybody. I can go to other questions and see what else you need. I want to try to wrap up in 5 minutes though. Dylan.
Does Mencius say that people are good naturally or
Yep. Yeah.
Good question. What does Mencius and Sun Tzu, yes, have in common?
Anyone? What do they agree on? One says that human nature is naturally good, the other says human nature is naturally evil. What do they agree on? All the no's. We talked about this long ago in Confucianism.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's through like education that you can.
Excellent. Circumstances, Mencius especially talked about circumstances making people bad or good. They both agree on education. That's a true and false. Other questions? Oh, here's a good one. Let me give you a hard one, because I think you guys may get tripped up on this one. What are the 2 main reasons that both Hinduism and Buddhism agree on as to why we suffer and can't reach peace? Why do they both say we can't reach peace? What you want, all you need to write down is the answer, and then we'll know the others are crap. It's our ego and ignorance. They both agree, ego meaning selfishness. It's our ego and ignorance. Everything else will be a red herring. It will talk about intention, and they'll possibly both agree on intention, but that's not why they say we ultimately suffer.
What's
Our ignorance and our ego.
Hinduism and Buddhism?
Why Hinduism is?
No, Hinduism and Buddhism. Why do we suffer? I think that'd be a little harder for a moment.
You said we're going to go over John Hodge in class, right?
Yes.
What should we learn for like Baha'i and Sikhism?
I'm just going to ask you what do they have in common? Hopefully you can understand that they both give equal rights, especially to women. They have undergone persecution. They all believe in one God and pluralism. Those are the 3 key similarities there. So equality, especially to women. Pluralism, or believing in one God, every branch is legit, and they've undergone great persecution. Questions?
For the cheat sheet, can we just cut out the last test?
If you want to cut out part of your old cheat sheet, you can. But again, I wouldn't do too much with Judaism and Islam, because I'm going to repeat questions. Yeah, there's really not much on it. Yeah.
Should we really study our quizzes?
I think you'll be okay without it. I think if you just go through the study, you get a find answers.
So, it's not a guide in their test.
Yeah, the one test. And just go through the notes. Go through the notes. Please find the answers you need. Yeah.
Should we talk about the philosophers?
What do you mean?
The more common similarities in religion.
Nah, here's that's a multiple choice question. I think it's easy. You'll have to find something that's false. I'll talk about the golden rule, life isn't permanent, focusing on material things. And how about this one? All meaning and purpose lies in the world above. They all don't agree on that. Aristotle doesn't say all belief is up there. All religions don't say it's up there. There's only one question on Gandhi. 1 or 2, I think. You have 20 true and false. True and false, right, I may put some quizzes in there, but I think I'll be okay. I think that's about it. Unless you, oh, here's one, another one that you might get tripped up on. In the Zen ox herding story, the ox represents one soul and our search for satisfaction. True or false?
False.
False. What does it represent?
A mind.
The mind. Good job. The only Zen ox herding story. The ox represents the mind, not the soul. I think that's about it. If you can't find anything else, please come see me. You're more than welcome to do that this week and next week. All right? You can always use my notes. That's pretty much it. Yes, sir. And I got you +3 for the final. If you want the full session, you get +5. Yes. Yeah. No, the sophomore.
What'd you ask?
Don't worry, it's a minor grade.
It doesn't go into anything.
No, it's a rumor. All right, well, they believe in one God, right? They believe Jesus is an incarnation of God. They believe we should get rid of self-interest. Do they both say that if we want pleasure, we should go after it? Yeah, that's the incarnation of God. Do they believe that if we want pleasure, we should go after it? Nope, Christianity doesn't. So there you go.
And what are some, oh wait, I think we might have asked this, between Jesus and Muhammad?
What?
Similarities?
That's a repeat question. So
Okay.
study that. All right.
Sweet, thank you.
No worries. One more help. Come back later.
Okay, bye.